How do you affect, if something's wrong and you want to heal yourself? I remember listening to one of your CDs where you're saying that you can change your vibration and heal any disease.
Well, you can. The trick to healing is, so here you are, and here's where you want to be. Now, think about the different thoughts that you could think about a particular diagnosis or physical condition. So if you're focusing on where you are you looking toward how you want to be, or are you looking at where you are? And so the word healing sort of distracts you or misguides you, because when you think about healing, you're thinking about the disease that you want to heal. And so the word healing almost always calls your attention to the problem, which is looking in the wrong direction. So that's what goes wrong with the idea of healing. So when you think in terms of, rather than healing what's wrong, instead allowing what's right, that's why we like to talk in terms of you are physical extensions of source energy. And you want to think about allowing the wellness rather than getting rid of the illness. So if healing means allowing, then you're on the right side of the equation. If healing means getting rid of what's broken, now you're on the wrong side. And the word in and of itself doesn't matter, but the way you feel about it does. So many people are thinking about getting rid of this thing I do not want. Well, that never works. You've got to allow what you do want. And that's the thing that's a little troubling when something is manifested. Now you've got something you're noticing, a sensation or a pain or a bump or a diagnosis or an x-ray. There's something that is tangible that then feels real. And that's the thing that we really want to shake up within all of you today. We want you to stop letting reality count for so much, because reality doesn't mean diddly squat. All reality is the measurement you've taken of the vibration that you've been offering. But as you heard us say emphatically already here today, you can't get stuck. And when you speak of reality, often the word reality sounds like it's static. It sounds like it's finished. It sounds like it's where that I'm stuck here. And all it is energy in motion. That would be like saying, I am a traveler on my way to San Diego, but I'm in Yuma. My reality is Yuma. My reality is Yuma. And we say, no, your reality is not Yuma, and your reality won't even be San Diego, because you're always in motion. It always unfolds. So if you think in terms of, I am always moving toward my newest idea of that which I now prefer from where I now stand, and realize that your physical body will follow the train of your thoughts, then you just have to ask yourself, are the train of my thoughts looking toward wellness, or are the train of my thoughts looking toward illness? And we want to say to you, what is inevitable is well-being. And sometimes you have to stand back a little bit to realize the enormous inevitability of well-being. In other words, from our vantage point, well-being is. And the degree to which you pinch yourself off from it is your deal, but it doesn't have anything to do with the reality of the well-being that's being offered to you. So we're wanting to give you a different stance on healing. We wouldn't use the word healing. We would not say, I am a healer. We would say, I am an acknowledger of natural wellness. I'm an acknowledger of natural well-being. The thing that we want most for you to accept is that there is wellness, and then there is not allowing the wellness, but there is not illness. And that's hard when you're looking at physical manifestation and you say, well, I can see the full embodiment of illness. And we say, don't look at it that way. Don't look at that as the full embodiment of illness. Look at it as the pinching off of wellness. And when you start looking at it in that way, and more importantly, you start feeling yourself, so you're standing in the middle of something, some subject that doesn't have anything to do with your physical wellness. You're not talking about your body. You're not talking about some diagnosis. It's totally off the subject. You're talking about money, or you're talking about your love life or a relationship or something. So there you are, and here's where you want to be relative to that subject. But for whatever reason, maybe because of who you're talking to, maybe because of the intensity of the subject, you find yourself deliberately beating the drum that's taking you on this side rather than on this side. And the negative emotion that ensues is your indicator. Not only are you disallowing this subject from moving closer to what you want, but you are, in general, disallowing the energy of well-being. In other words, when you beat the drum of something unwanted, it does not only affect that subject that you are focused upon, it affects your ability to allow well-being on all subjects. You are more integrated subject-wise than you know. And haven't you noticed that when you're in a bad mood, you're sort of in a bad mood about everything?
Yeah.
And when you're in a good mood, you're sort of in a good mood about everything. In other words, things blur and bleed together much more than most people realize. And so that's why when you are newly in love, everything starts turning up because you're focused upon something that allows the energy to begin flowing again, and everything improves. There are so many people that go from sick to well because they have fallen in love. There are so many people that go from poor to wealthy because they have fallen in love. Because their love interest distracts them from the normal thoughts that were holding them in the place of not allowing the well-being.
One of the things that led me to about the healing was I had this extreme pain in my shoulder blade. And I went to an acupuncturist. We've now got it, which I've had success with before. And we've gotten it out of my shoulder, and now it's into my elbow. And he says it's just, the energy channels, etc.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
In other words, so think about that. That's really a wonderful thing for you to acknowledge, because what that says is the symptom or the disease is too strong a word, but we're going to use it. The disease is not a reality because it's moving all around. So here you are, you have this condition which feels static. If you were looking at this podium and you see this scratch on it, you might say, well, that's a reality. And so when you have a spot on your shoulder that is hurting, you think of it like something that it's like that. It's done, and now somebody needs to get out the sandpaper, and somebody needs to get out the varnish, and but what we want you to understand about your body is the sensation that you have in your body is just about a snapshot in time about energy moving. And this acupuncturist has really helped you to understand that, because he has been able to work with you and manipulate your energy and move the spot from there over to there.
Right.
And that's really fascinating. That makes it not look like a reality. That puts it into the context of what it really is. It's blockage that's moving around. So how can it be blocking? So couldn't it move from my shoulder to my elbow to my fingertip to somewhere nothing to do with me? And we say it can unless you keep beating the drum of whatever it is about. Because the tendency in medicine is to say, well, what medicine is about is the spot. Right. And we say, no, the spot is only the current manifestation of the energy. So if you get focused on the energy and forget about the spot, then the spot will move to your elbow, to your fingertip, off into some place that has nothing to do with you. But you got to put medicine in the context of energy, and you've got to put energy in the context of vibration, and you've got to put vibration in the context of emotion, and you've got to put emotion in the context of, I want to feel a little better, I want to feel a little better, I want to feel a little better. And we want you to understand that every sore spot, every stiff knee, every headache, every sense of confusion, every physical sensation is about energy moving through you every single time. And that's all about your relationship between where you are and where you want to be. We would, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would refuse to identify something as something unwanted by name. We would not call it illness. We would not call it cancer. We would not address it as something like a spot that has reality. We would talk in terms of our condition of allowing wellness or not allowing wellness, because when you think in terms of your condition, your emotion, that feels like something that you can do something about, where the manifestations feel too static for most of you to do something about.
Right.
That's why you say, well, I went to the doctor and he cut it out. And he told me to come back really often, because his experience has shown him that once he starts cutting things out, more things show up to be cut out. That's what his experience shows him. So he says we got to keep a close watch on this. Come really often, and we'll keep looking for things to cut out. And after a while, you want to say to him, I think maybe instead of waiting until there's something to cut out, I think I'll pay attention to what's causing the spot to begin with.
Right. Excellent.
My situation is I have a chronic medical condition, not fatal, but very unpleasant. There's inflammation involved in the body. And I've been to many doctors and alternative healers, and what they've been able to do for me is limited.
What we really want you to hear from us is that there is never any advantage to you ever in focusing upon something unwanted and having a discussion about it, because it cannot go away until you either find a remedy that you believe will make it go away, or you withdraw your attention from it. In order to get it moving more in the direction of what you want, you have to discontinue the activation of the vibration. And we know it's not an easy thing, especially when there's something involved with your physical body. It's not easy to ignore what's going on. And yet, that is the work. You have to ignore unwanted while you amplify wanted. And there's something really wonderful about a physical condition or about anything unwanted, because it can give you a bounce. It can amplify your desire in a stronger way. But the thing that is a little tricky about it, when you have specific things that you know you do not want, even though it causes you to now have specific things that you know that you do want, it's quite a vibrational jump between the not wanted and the wanted.
Yes.
Such a jump that most people don't make it.
Yes.
Especially since the persistence of the day-to-day experience is such that it keeps getting your attention and you keep renewing that vibration. So your work really is to get as general as you can about it, because you have a chance to shift vibration if you go general. So can you remove yourself from the specifics of it long enough to have a general conversation? In other words, could you say, I have a temporary condition? Could you say, I have a temporary condition? Can you feel the softness of a temporary condition as compared to a chronic condition?
Yes.
Now, it can be chronic and temporary. In other words, it can be here, gone. In other words, it can be chronic and temporary. It can be eventually gone. But feel the difference. Feel the smoothness in the vibration when you call it temporary,
Yes.
as compared to when you call it chronic. It's temporary. It's temporary. Well, what does temporary mean? It means not long-lasting. Not long-lasting. So just rest with that vibration, not long-lasting. And do that every time you can. Every time the subject of this comes to your mind, no matter what has caused the activation of it, if you will speak it in those terms, you will soften the vibration, and you'll begin seeing movement in the direction of what you are wanting.
I could also say that my body knows how to heal itself, and I need to trust that it will.
You can, but those are pretty specific words.
Okay.
And your current experience is sort of defying that.
Okay.
In other words, when something is happening that is big enough that it causes you to not believe the things that you're saying,
Yes.
then saying them doesn't do you any good.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So that's why you want to say the things that are easy for you to believe.
Okay.
So what are some things that are easy for you to believe? Is it easy for you to believe that this is a temporary situation? Is it easy for you to believe it wasn't there, then it was, it can be not there again? We can see how you might feel that it's less than temporary if you'd had it every day of your life forever and ever and ever and ever, but you didn't.
No, I didn't.
You didn't. It's temporary. Huh.
Okay.
That's clear, isn't it? And so simple, it must not be true. Abraham, really? All I have to do is just slow my thoughts down about unwanted things and speed my things up about wanted things. Because it's the emotional journey that you're looking for. The manifestation will come too, and it will be satisfying. So you've got to deactivate that precision and get general.